Am I the a-hole for terrorizing my brother, making him live in his own filth? My brothers are all pigs. We had a very traditional house, where girls cleaned and washed dishes from the time we were old enough to walk and stand on chairs, and my brothers never did anything, and as adults cannot even turn a washer on. I very much resent how I felt like I had to raise my own father, and how holidays and weekends were always spent with my brothers, and dad laying around and us cleaning. Even Christmas they got to play with their toys, and we went in the kitchen. I do not care about excuses like, I was never taught. We are all adults now and they can YouTube and Google whatever they do not know. I learned how to patch walls, change tires, change oil, etc. All the gendered stuff I was never taught, so I do not see why he can't as well. My brother got put out by his girlfriend after they just had their first kid, because he does not help with anything. Since he is staying with me, I have forced him to do stuff. When he first moved in, my house went from my tidy, clean utopia to a disgusting mess. He would spit sunflower seeds on the floor, hide his food and dirty dishes around the house, spit chewed gum behind the coffee machine, which is just a few feet from the trash can, hide snack food everywhere, smoke on the toilet and put cigs out on my floor, which is a slap in the face as I asked him to not even smoke inside because I do not smoke, leave his dirty clothes everywhere, even on the living room floor, etc. Even when he ordered food for himself, he would eat at the table then leave it for me to put away for him. Anytime he took anything out of the fridge he would leave it on the table, and would often leave the fridge open. I am not joking. I found maggots 3 times from his mess. I lost it and told him to change his behavior totally or get out. Well, he started doing stuff, but as badly as he could. He would put bowls in the dishwasher so they would be filled with nasty water, mop with the same water for days on end leaving it smelling of rot, do his laundry by putting it in the washer and leaving it for me to finish, put food away by throwing it all over the fridge, spilling food everywhere. The best was when he put the syrup away upside down on the top shelf, with no lid on, coating my entire fridge in syrup that took hours to clean, etc. Then he would say, I am trying, you are just being a bitch. I lost my temper, and I know I couldn't leave him on the street, so I divided the house. The cabinet doors all have locks from the previous owners. So I got him from dishes from Goodwill and forbade him from using any of my dishes, so he is eating off his filthy dishes. I made it very clear that anything left on the floors, clothing, etc., gets a 1-day grace period, then it will be thrown away. Same with the few dishes he has, as he would leave them in the sink until they started to grow mold. I started locking my bathroom door, and he has to use the one in the basement, which I refuse to clean. If his clothes are in the washer for more than 8 hours and I need to use it, I dump them wet on his bed. Any trash he leaves laying around goes on his bed. If he orders food and gets up and leaves his leftovers, I leave them to rot. Then they get thrown away. Though twice the idiot has left food out overnight and came out and started angry eating it whilst glaring at me. Both times the idiot got food sickness. He destroyed my fridge again, putting juice in upside down with the lid barely on, once again destroying my food. So I mopped it up with towels and dumped the towels and all my ruined food on his bed, then put a lock on the fridge. He hates me and says I am terrorizing him. I say I was forced to mother him as a child but was never given the parental control to actually teach him how life works. And since my brothers used my childhood to treat me like a maid, I will no longer parent them. My view is, some lessons have to be learned painfully. I will not gentle parent a grown man who cannot close a fridge door. Mini update everyone, things came to a head today. I had to work the early shift and had session with my table tonight at 6. I am doing a few D&D games. I begged my brother to keep the living room clean. I came home and the house was more than trashed. I mean, it looked like a bomb went off. He even dropped a cup of milk on the floor and left it. I flung the whole milk jug at his head and screamed at him to get the F out. He tried to bulk up to me, and I lost it screaming, "Get out," over and over, and I guess he saw how unhinged I was because he stormed out. Update. To start, I know a lot of people seemed incredibly perplexed I even allowed this. To this, all I can really reply is that I grew up in a very toxic environment. They are Mormons, and not the modern kind. When I was a kid, I was not allowed to wear pants. In my childhood, if you asked a man to clean, you would be looked at like you were insane. And if you got mad at a man being messy, it would even be implied you could possibly be corrupted spiritually for attacking the original design. Obviously, after I left the church, I understood that things are different. But I am not as healed as I thought. I obviously need a lot more therapy. I also got a few posts asking why I didn't include that I am autistic in my post, This is just because it is not relevant. Now my brother has been MIA after he tried to square up to me. I screamed so loud it was hard to talk the next day. I think he got the hint then, and took off, almost ripped my door in two doing it. I had to replace a hinge. I know some people wanted me to sue him, but during this whole situation I was confronted with a health scare. Just some weird-looking moles, but I am still worried, so I do not want to deal with that. He left, get this, and went to the house of his 19-year-old girlfriend. Apparently, he met this girl when she went to the bar for her 18th. I had no idea this was going on, but all my brothers did. To recap, he had a baby with his GF of 8 years this month. Editors note the girlfriend of 8 years is different than the 19-year-old. I told them all to F off. When mom messaged me crying because no one knows where your brother is, he just left with some girl, I told her I do not care. I did message the girl to tell her he is bad news, but she called me a crazy C-word and blocked me. I also messaged the girl's mom, who seems worried but basically said she cannot do anything because her daughter is legal. I guess they took off and skipped town, and will not tell anyone where they are. Outside of worry for this girl, I do not care. I am too busy, chilling with his ex and my wonderful niece. I am going to take care of my health and focus on my life. Final update. Well, after all of this I have not talked to anyone in my family at all but kept in contact with his ex, and have been spending a lot of time with the baby. I have never liked his ex. She was with him for a reason. I think the only reason they lasted for years instead of my brother's usually couple of weeks or months before the girl runs screaming is because she is, in a lot of ways, like him. Even knowing that I kept contact like a dummy because I felt so awful over the kid being left, and I secretly think they are doomed because of their goofy parents. I know how horrible it is to think that. I wanted to be a positive force in the kid's life. Well, my brother found out somehow that I have been around the kid, and somehow got my new number, which totally perplexes me because no one in our family has it. He called me and cried that he does not want me around the kid because I will never do to his child what I did to him. This confused me because when he left, he declared his ex must have cheated, and the child was not his. They clearly are. So why is he saying his child? And 2, I have never done anything to him. I was made to be his mom, which is crazy because he is older, but never even given the authority to correct him. So I spent my life chasing after him, cleaning up all his mistakes whilst he tormented me and treated me so horribly. I ended up literally medically diagnosed with PTSD. I asked him what I did to him, and he said I always judged him, and even when he was a kid, I looked at him with judgment. I hung up on him right there because lol, I judged him. No duh. I could fill books and books with all the bad choices he has made, and all the horrible things he has done to others. From the time he could talk, it seemed like all he cared about was hurting others and offending others. And he has never been actually punished for anything. I was the only one who judged him, and after his actions he rightfully should be in jail. If the worst thing he has suffered is judgment, I mean lol. I have suffered way worse, often at his hands or because of his choices. The cold truth is if it wasn't for my judgment and care, he would be gone of an OD about a billion times over. Or he would have called the wrong person a slur and found out the hard way. The only thing that kept him alive was me trailing after him, fixing mess after mess. He apparently talked to his ex, and she has blocked me and told me I will never be allowed to mess up their child like I messed up him. I do not need anyone to tell me she is appealing to my brother to try and win him back, and that this is two deeply broken, messed up people blaming their shortcomings on me because it is easier than looking in a mirror. I know. Anyways, I felt something snap in me, and it was like all my care, anxiety, and worry drained out of my body. I do not care about this anymore, or any of them. I changed my number again, limited my contact list even more, and I will be moving when I can.
Am I the a-hole for missing my sister's wedding, after she moved it up to the day of my little sister graduation? 23 male, I'm one of 7 kids. There's Lydia, 31 female, Josh, 28 male, Leo, 25 male, me, then Aaron, 21 female, Nadia, 18 female, and the surprise child Lexi, 4 female. With that many siblings, it's easy to get lost in the crowd. Some of us have our positions, so to speak. Lydia's the oldest, Lexi's the baby, I have a kid, yes, that's my descriptor. I gave them a grandchild. Erin is the golden child. She was the last planned child, the one supposed to tie up our family. She was born premature, so I understand that my parents coddled her to an extent, but it's more than that now. Rin's getting married and recently told us that she's brought the date forward due to a cancellation. No big deal. It just means they're getting married sooner. But the new date lands on the date of Nadia's high school graduation. Erin was sympathetic, but said she's already committed to the date. They've printed the invitations. My parents normally go overboard on our high school graduation, but they said that they'd just have to miss Nadia's. We were all sympathetic, but it wasn't intentional, or so I thought. But Nadia later told me, and Leo, that she was there when Erin got the call about the cancellation, and told Erin that she was graduating that day. But Erin just laughed and accepted the date anyway. This, as much as I hate to admit it, sounds like a very Erin thing to do. She booked her engagement part for the night of Nadia's 18th birthday. Luckily, she wasn't celebrating until the weekend. She announced her engagement at my oldest sister's wedding anniversary. Everything is about her. I confronted Erin about this, and she said that Nadia's high school graduation didn't matter. She wanted to get married to the love of her life sooner, and our family had been to plenty of high school graduations at this point. Anyway, she said something like, "We still have Lexi." But here's what gets me the most. Nadia's been looking forward to this for so long. She's watched all of us graduate, and have these huge celebrations thrown by our parents. I asked Nadia what she wanted, and she said she wanted to have her day. So, I told my family that me and Nadia won't be attending the wedding. Leo has also dropped out. Evrion's angry. Rin's furious, and I didn't make it better by telling her that I could watch our other siblings get married, since it's all the same in her eyes. Mom's trying to convince me to come to the wedding because graduation isn't as important, but I feel like if I don't do this then it sets a precedent in Nadia's life, that she's always going to mean less than Erin. I've had messages calling me a hole, an idiot, etc. They're telling me to step up and be a good brother, but that's what I'm doing. My son is supposed to be ring bearer, but with how my family is reacting, I'm considering pulling him out of the wedding, too. My dad's told Nadia he'll take her to dinner after the wedding. Nadia's currently staying with me, because Mom won't stop cornering her. Update. So last Friday, Leo and I went to speak to our parents and Erin. I wanted to tell them that I'd be pulling my son from the wedding. Our older siblings ended up turning up as well, so it was us for standing up for Nadia. Leo had spoken to them the night before and helped them see things more clearly from Nadia's eyes. Apparently, it didn't sink in with them that Erin chose the date intentionally. There was a lot of yelling. Erin accused me of trying to sabotage her wedding. Our parents tried to convince me to let them take my son to the wedding, but I stood my ground. I felt a lot stronger with my older siblings with me. There's only 2 years between me and Erin after all. I'm not much of an older brother. Luckily, Lydia was there. Her words carry more weight as the eldest, and she didn't give Erin or my parents room to argue as she told them that Erin chose the date intentionally, admitted as much in front of me and Leo, and that this was normal behavior for her. Lydia told them that if they continued to favor Erin so blatantly, the rest of us would go no contact, and Lexi would likely follow in the future. Our dad started yelling, not at us, but at Erin, surprisingly. I've never seen him so angry before, and to see it directed at Erin was shocking. Our mom asked us to leave. We didn't hear from anyone on that side until Monday, when Rin's fiancé George asked to meet us at our parents'. He apologized to Nadia. He didn't know that the wedding and graduation overlapped, nor did he know that it was something Erin did on purpose. Our dad was the one to tell him. What followed was a long talk between us, during which we all aired our grievances. I told our parents that we all felt that they valued Erin more, that none of us mattered to them compared to her. Her artwork always went up on the fridge. Ours always went in the drawer. I told them that, as a parent, I could never imagine treating my child like that. Erin tried to argue. She tried to tell us that we were trying to turn her into a bad guy, trying to turn our parents against her, trying to sabotage her wedding. Our mom told her to be quiet, that it was our time to talk. George stepped in to tell us that he didn't expect us to attend the wedding, but we were welcome to attend the reception. He went so far as to say that he wished he could have canceled the wedding altogether, but it had only cost him more money that he'd spent by bringing it forward. Mom's willingness to hear us out lasted less than 24 hours. By Tuesday, she was begging us to reconsider. Apparently our feelings meant nothing in the face of Rin's dire stress, and the fact that people would be questioning our absence on the big day. I haven't spoken to my mom since, but I did ask my dad to bring some of Nadia's things because she is going to be staying with me full time. We have officially gone no contact with our mother. Dad took Nadia out for an early graduation celebration on Wednesday. They had a daddy-daughter date that I think she really needed. He apologized for a lot of things and told her he wanted to do the same with the rest of us. But Wednesday was about her. I'm happy she got that one-on-one time with him. She was happy, coming home to me. In our sibling group chat, she said that she really thinks Dad is going to try to mend bridges with us, even if mom won't. Dad also turned up early yesterday morning, I'm talking 6:30 a.m., to give Nadia flowers. He told her that he was proud of her. George even called while he was getting ready for his big day to congratulate Nadia, which I really appreciated. We didn't hear from Mom or Aaron. Our paternal grandma ended up coming to the graduation with us. It was a great day. Like, a really great day. We didn't think about the wedding, didn't think about Aaron, we just had fun together. My son got to wear his aunt's cap and gown and nearly drowned in the fabric. Our grandma tried on the cap, too. We took photos and sent them to our dad, who posted them in a Facebook post. He wrote to congratulate both Aaron on her wedding and Nadia on her graduation, and we laughed about how it must have pissed off our newly wedded sister. We went out for dinner and we, as siblings, gifted Nadia money for a week away with her best friend, which somebody suggested in a comment on the initial post. Our dad's even joining in. This might cause a bigger rift between him and Mom, but for now, at least, it looks like we're his priority. Lydia's threat really did something to him. Update. It's been 5 months since the last update, so let's start. Aaron and George went on their honeymoon, and their absence sent our mom into a frenzy. She wasn't used to having no one around. Someone was always visiting, mostly Aaron, but the rest of us would visit out of obligation and to see Nadia and Lexi. With Aaron on her honeymoon, and the rest of us NC, Mom had no visitors and she really didn't like that. Literally the day after Aaron left, we started getting bombarded with phone calls. She tried convincing Nadia first, which Lydia thought was a strategic move, because Nadia is the more timid of all of us and, thus, more likely to be persuaded. When Nadia turned her down, she turned her sights on the rest of us. We all got identical phone calls with her trying to persuade us to go visit her, to understand her, to see things from Rin's perspective. She even brought up the circumstances of Rin's premature birth, and how it was a miracle that she was even here. Josh told her to do better with Lexi. Lydia blocked her number. When the phone calls didn't work, she started turning up at our homes. She continued spewing much of the same shit she had over the phone and before the wedding. She didn't understand what she'd done so wrong, why we were treating her like this. She called me ungrateful and disrespectful. She accused us of harboring unnecessary jealousy towards Aaron and that she loved us all equally. I didn't respond to these comments. I was just trying to prevent her from going inside and saying the same things to Nadia, who was with my partner and son in the living room. Her comments didn't deserve a response, and when she was done I asked her to leave as calmly as I could, but truthfully, I felt a little like crying. But who wouldn't feel shitty with their mom yelling in their face like that, trying to downplay years of pain and calling it unnecessary jealousy? My siblings and I have been let down time and time again by her, and our dad ever since Aaron was born. They missed out on so many things over the years, both big and small, but we had one thing that they never missed, and we were happy with just that one thing, and that was our HS graduations, but they couldn't give that to Nadia. All we had were our HS graduations. They missed Josh's college graduation because Aaron broke her leg. It was an accident, I get that, but they never made it up to him. They never celebrated this huge achievement afterwards, and he just had to grin and bear it. Our mom didn't turn up to my partner's babysitter after making such a huge fuss about it, because Aaron didn't want to go and wanted them to get their nails done together instead. But our jealousy is unnecessary. Sorry. I don't know how I managed to stay calm when she was yelling at me, but I did. Asking her to leave made her switch tactics though, and she started calling out for my son, trying to coax him to go to her, and telling me that she had a right to see her grandson. My partner stepped in then, because she was seething, and took my place at the door. Mom yelled some more, but she left when my partner threatened to call the cops. Mom repeated this song and danced with my older siblings, but similarly got nowhere with them. Then came the Facebook posts, indirect rants about ungrateful people and how shocking it is that some kids could turn against their parents so easily. Aaron somehow got involved while on her honeymoon, and called Lydia to scold her for being mean to our mom. But as I've said before, Lydia is angry, and she's had enough. Whatever she said to Aaron prevented her from calling the rest of us. There was then a Facebook post about how much it hurt to be kept from a grandchild. Now, there were no names mentioned, but there is only one grandchild and that is my son. My mom's sister called me. There was yelling. I blocked the number. I know Dad was trying to convince our mom to just leave us alone. He kept apologizing because she just wasn't listening to him. Aaron came home after 2 weeks. She tried reaching out to Lydia again, asking for us all to talk because, and this is a quote from Lydia, clearly we all have some issues to work out. We did not turn up. Aaron was very angry at that because she's not used to us turning up for her. July wasn't all bad though. While our mom was on a rampage, Our dad was still trying to do better by us, and he's improved a lot. In July, he and I went out for a meal together, just the two of us, and grabbed a drink, and he apologized. It wasn't a generic apology that he could have repeated to all of us, about how he's sorry that he hurt us in neglecting us, but he brought up specific instances that he wanted to apologize for. He thought back on all those years and picked out moments that he wanted to apologize to me for. I know he did the same for the others, but having him apologize for things like canceling a fishing trip because Aaron needed him was something I wasn't expecting. And I never really cared for fishing, but I wanted to go on that trip because I always saw it on TV, you know. I'd always see a dad and son fishing together, and I wanted to have that. I wanted Dad to prove that I was a priority to him, somewhere deep down. It didn't happen, and I never asked again, but we went fishing in July. What started as a trip between the two of us soon grew into a family day out when my siblings expressed an interest in going fishing, too. My brothers first, then Nadia, and even Lydia, who hates the smell of fish. Dad brought Lexi and I brought my son, and it was great. It was one of the best days of my life. I suck at fishing, but I'm pretty great at collecting seashells. It was brilliant. Our parents did end up arguing when Dad went home. I wasn't there, so I don't know every little detail, but from what Dad told me, the argument was mostly because Mom didn't understand why we were still in contact with him and not her. She found it insulting that we were repairing our relationship with him. She was angry that Dad wasn't pushing us to forgive her, or why he wasn't stopping us from acting out. She was angry that he didn't extend an invitation to her and Aaron for the fishing trip, and she was even angrier when he explained that their presence would make us uncomfortable. Josh turned 29 at the end of July. We booked an escape room for the 5 of us siblings. Then we met our dad and partners for dinner that evening. Josh introduced us to his new partner for the first time. All of our attention was on Josh. The day was completely about him, which was a first for our family. Then there was a party thrown for him by his friends, which I came out of with a massive hangover. Mom started giving us the silent treatment in the middle of August. Dad moved out in September. While we were getting the silent treatment, Dad was bearing the brunt of her anger, and it really took it out of him. He was trying to do better by us, and she was trying to villainize us, and he ultimately told her that if she didn't take accountability for her actions soon, then he'd be contacting a lawyer. Mom didn't take him seriously. He's been staying in Lydia's guest room since. Mom doubled down and said that he was blind for not seeing how we were manipulating him. Unlike the rest of us, Dad obviously still has regular contact with Aaron, and according to him, she's even told Mom to reconsider. Unsurprisingly, Rin's involvement is what got Mom to relent. I'm not sure if she's thinking about how she's treated us, or if she's silently stewing. I know she asked Dad if he's going to move back home, but he said that it was better for them to have space right now. Personally, I'm struggling to see an outcome where our mom sincerely admits that she was in the wrong. I think she'll say it just to get Dad back home, and the rest of us talking to her again. I don't think she'll ever hold us to the same level as Aaron. My family disowned me 15 years ago. Complete no contact. Now all at once they want back in my life, and are stalking me. I finally confronted them. So I 36 male got into some trouble 15 years ago. I take all the responsibility for this, and even to this day I carry all the shame, guilt and embarrassment for it. Also, this might come up. This is not cultural or religion. It's just shame to the family name. The situation when I was 19, my ID was stolen and being used in another state, and created a situation where my driver's license was suspended nationwide. Somehow any and all notifications from the other state never made it to me. I started doing all the necessary things I needed to do to try and fix the problem. I, however, had a couple of tickets in my current state that I needed to pay but couldn't because I needed to pay my rent and keep my apartment. Also at the time my full-time job was having problems and was borderline shutting down, so to try and make ends meet I was doing a lot of freelance work as well. Again, my fault. I knew the company was in trouble, but I was still holding out hope that things would get better. I was hoping that a couple more freelance jobs, and I would be able to finally pay the tickets. This was never the case, and the long story short of it, I was arrested and spent 2 weeks in jail. Not ideal, but I guess in the long run, it worked out for the best by clearing the tickets in my home state. However, my family felt otherwise, and I was completely disowned because of this. I lost everything and everyone. The only reason I still had my apartment was because I had enough to cover the rent, and the freelance work kept up. Took another 6 months, but I was finally able to get the other state to release my driver's license. I decided that since my family hated me I didn't need them, so a year later I changed my last name, phone number and email. My social media is locked down so tight you would think I was hiding national security secrets. I was able to finish college and get settled into my career, and at this point I'm happier than I have ever been. Enter current time, and 2 weeks ago there was a knock on my door, and it was my mom and dad. Again, it had been 15 years and I hadn't spoken to them, not one word. The only thing I could get out of my mouth was, "How did you find me, and what are you doing here?" My mom's response was, $5,000 to a PI. Finally a search of Facebook, with just your first name, found you, and the PI confirmed it was you. I responded, "You didn't answer my second question. What are you doing here?" My mom again, "It's been 15 years. Looking at where you are, it seems you have learned your lesson, and you are succeeding. You've missed out on a lot of things." I ended with, "Yes, I have learned my lesson. One of them is don't think anyone will ever help you or be understanding, even your family. And yes, I did succeed, and I did it entirely without you. Please leave and don't ever come back." Shut the door in their face, locked it, checked the back door and closed all the curtains. I'm guessing they hung around for another 15 minutes knocking, demanding to be let in. I went back to bed, turned the fan on high and went back to sleep. I did some research, and I have missed out on a lot. I have nieces and nephews, brothers and sisters-in-laws. But the truth is, I don't know any of them, and I don't think I need to. I live a very quiet life. I can count on to hand how many friends I actually have. A friend said I may have taken it too far, that I should have given them a chance, and if I didn't like what they had to say, then I could have told them to go away. I was hoping that this was going to be the end of it, but not. They have taken to stalking me. I'll be completely honest. They are harmless, but just a real pain in the ass, and also I have been messing with them, and having some fun with the help of a friend. He now calls them fleas, and will check on me asking if I have fleas or not. It's kinda funny. If I say yes, then it's game on. The first night he came over, and we walked downtown to a really expensive restaurant that I knew they were never going to go to. This past week, the way my days off fell, I had a 5-day stretch, so I decided to go to the city for a few days. I'm walking distance to the Amtrak station, and they followed me. I kept my AirPods in the whole time, and I know they were trying to talk to me, but I ignored them the entire time. People on the platform even were telling me that they were talking to me, and I said that I know, but I don't want to deal with them. The train came and I got on and left them to watch. I loved it. It got to the point I finally had to acknowledge them. They weren't going to go away, so we met at the park across from my apartment. I didn't hold anything back. I told them this was the one and only time I was going to talk to them. I took a page from the Matlock series and told them I was their judge. I was their jury. I then told them that as far as I was concerned, they were guilty of anything and everything, and all I was doing was hearing what they had to say before I walked away from them. I asked them that why now, after 15 years, they are demanding to be back in my life, and why they made the decisions they did to disown me. They told me that I ruined the family name, and that the shame I brought to the family was horrible, and that this was the only way to make it right was to get rid of me. They said that recently my name has been coming up in conversation, and that the family has grown with a lot of new people. That brother and sister-in-law are asking questions about who is Brindley. That I have a niece who they think I would love and get along with, and the same for a nephew who was born last year, and now should be the time to fix things. They said that looking at my apartment and the life I had, that I must have learned my lesson about being a better person and managing my life better. I finally cut them off and told them that I couldn't stand to hear anymore. I was at the point I could hear my heart beating in my ears. I told them that I did everything completely by myself. Nobody from that life exists anymore, not one person. That they just need to tell everyone the truth, that I was in jail for 2 weeks, and because of this the decision was made to get rid of me. I told them that I did it all on my own, and that my one cousin Jean, who is only a cousin by marriage, was the one who was there for me, hence why I took her last name. I told them that to this day I'm doing everything on my own and rely on nobody and don't need or want them in any way of my life. They made their decisions and I'm making mine. I told them this will be the last time we talk, and that I would be going to see a lawyer to see if there was anything that could be done to keep them away from me, and that if they continue to follow me around or show up at my apartment, I would have them arrested for trespassing. And I went back home and again locked everything down, pulled the curtains, and have been crying since.